Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I want to talk a little bit about a machine I received for review from Minisforum. This is the UN1250. I guess the question boils down to, should you still buy a 12th generation system in 2025? I think that if you need a budget-friendly mini PC or home server, yeah. And we all know that Windows 10 is going end of life in October. This might be a good, inexpensive way to get a machine over onto, if you really want to stay on Windows, to be able to run Windows 11. So, yeah, it comes with everything you need. It has a TP chip and all those kinds of things, and it is certified to run on Windows 11. So, yeah, and by the way, the UN1250 comes with Windows 11 Pro. So it's already set up and ready for you. But if you need AI acceleration or you need PCIe 5 to future-proof or maybe Wi-Fi 7 or some of the newer Bluetooth versions, you might want to look elsewhere. So, I mean, that's what I would say up front. So why don't we break down the specs and see what each of these systems offer. The Intel i5 1250P, which is what comes in the UN1250, that's a 12-core, 16-thread as well. What are the differences? Well, there's some there's not any differences between the graphics part of it. They both use Iris Xe internal graphics, or iGPUs as Intel calls them. Both of them will support up to 64 gig DDR4 memory. These are SODIMM sockets, of course. They both support networking with 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. They both support Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3 on the UN1250. As far as ports are concerned, the UN1250 has an HDMI port and a display port, and this one comes with Windows 11 Pro. Okay, before I leave though, I'm going to actually power off this machine, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let this come up in Windows, which is the default, and let's just see how long it takes. Okay, the power light is off, right? And so we're down completely. You can't see it, but trust me, we're powering up. Let's see how long it actually takes. Now, I haven't gone in and optimized any of this is out of the box, the way the BIOS is set up, with the exception of, well, actually it is. I didn't make any changes. This is running Secure Boot too. Yeah, Ubuntu works with Secure Boot, and yeah, so there you go. It's up. Yeah, all these failed copies is because I didn't do the backup, because I was already waiting 4 hours and I didn't want to restore from my baseline. So, yeah, these are all the tests that I've been doing. This isn't going to work because these are all ARM. The Iris is not exactly what we would call a screaming fast graphics card, but yeah, we could run it. Well, we had it. Oh, there it is, 12,529. It's okay for low-end tasks like drawing the screen and that kind of thing here that you're seeing. But yeah, it's not going to be, this isn't going to be a gaming rig, I'll tell you that. So yeah, you have this lovely set of menus here, and I'll explain it in a minute. So the setup is over here, and as you can see, it'll display, what your current stuff is, and the blue ones you can change. Then you go into advanced, and this is what I'm talking about. You should have, I haven't touched this. This is the way it came. VTD is enabled. VMX is enabled. Hyperthreading is enabled. I did change that. It was at balanced, so I changed it to performance. I'm guilty. I guess I did change one thing. But you'll notice that there is, now on Intel, there is an option, if you have DVI built in to the motherboard, to enable it. Most of the time it is disabled. Do you see anywhere on there where there is, it's usually a menu underneath this. It is enabled and it is set to standard. And that will work with Ubuntu because Ubuntu does buy the key. They get the key from Microsoft because they control it. Somebody asked me that Microsoft controls the secure boot key. Yeah, it's their invention. Yes, they do. I'm going to exit without saving just in case, and then it should take me back here. The boot menu is here for if you're booting from a drive, but because I'm booting from a partition, I have to actually go all the way over here. And then I can choose this. Okay, so let's see how long Linux takes to come up. Or more correctly, how long does GNOME take to come up? That's not too bad, is it? All right. It's picking high, really? It's at 32. Yeah, 40. Wow, let me benchmark this. $38.7. All right, so I'm not sure if this will boot, but we'll try it. It might. Okay, it did. All right, let's try to install Proxmox. This is the older kernel too. You can install install a default kernel when it comes up. Oh, it's all the Ethernet. That's good. I noticed that right away. All right. So, oh, it wants the whole drive. It's not going to be happy with just a little bit of the drive. It wants all of it. Well, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm in Alaska. No, I don't think so. Although it does feel like I'm in Alaska today, but it isn't. I just need this one. Sorry, you can't see this. Yep, sorry. I don't mind sharing some things, but no, not my personal life. So, okay, yeah, we've got the Ethernet and we got the Wi-Fi too, are both showing up. Awesome. Well, I'm going to put it on. Goodbye Windows. See ya. All right. I guess I have to pull this out. Oh, probably not now though. Oh, it says I can remove it. Okay. Now see if it'll boot up. Oh, man, that's it. And this isn't secure boot. And this isn't even on the latest kernel. This is on 6.8. Wow. It's up. But is it up? Is it really up? It says I have to go to 121. Okay. Let me go over. You don't have a license. Can you click? Yes. All right. So let's see what we got up for a summary. Awesome. I think I can upload one. There. Upload. There we go. Select files. Download. Ooh, I can also put Fedora up here. Okay, let's do that. I don't care what VM I create. I just want to see if it will run. We should probably update this too. So while this is installing, yeah, we'll go check for updates. There's probably a few things, maybe not. Yeah, I know I don't have a valid inscription. I need to go in and edit those out of my API, my repos. So, yeah, it's used in production. So, yeah, there's a ton of crap that needs to be upgraded. So we'll go ahead and do that. Well, it's building my VM. As long as I don't reboot it in the middle, we'll be fine. And that was a major update. And it's still installing. So let's check it out, and then we'll shut it down and reboot. Great. Okay. Now we can reboot this. And we can even go back over here and watch it. Hopefully rebooting. Shouldn't have to do anything other than... Now I'm just going to wait, see how long this takes before it goes. There it goes. Because I don't run mine. I usually run my servers headless. Okay, so it's up. So now we should be able to refresh this page. And everything is up. And I can restart this. Open my console window. And start it up. So how much resources is this actually taking? I don't want the console, I want the summary. So this is the VM, and this is the server view. So yeah, the CPUs they're being used occasionally. That was probably the updates. This server load, memory use down here. This is total memory. So this is all it used, not much. 4 gig. So I could comfortably run a couple of VMs on here, but there's not enough memory to really use this the way I want to use it without going out and buying, more, which you'd probably want to do. Most people will max out their systems that are running virtual machines or running containers. Nice little box. Is it hot? No. It's nice and cool to the touch. I have my hand on it. This machine is $279, and it's not bare bones. It comes with 16 gig of memory and 1 terabyte NVMe. It's an OEM Kingston drive. So yeah, we'll be looking at that and see how it kind of, it's kind of an unfair comparison because you have an OEM NVMe compared against a high-end Samsung NVMe. So the key takeaways, the UN1250 is less than half the price of the Intel NUC, while it does deliver similar CPU performance. Okay. So now we can see them compared side by side. So you'll notice that in the single core, man, these things are close. Yeah, it edges it out. The N1250, the UM1250 edges it out slightly. They're close. In multi-core, the NUC walks away, and this is because of its extra cache. Yeah, definitely, you can see the extra cache is definitely playing here. And you can see the comparison in the tests here. The difference is this is close. This would be that's noise. It outperforms the NUC, the Intel NUC. 7%, 2% on the next one on navigation. On HTML, it lags behind by about 7% from the Intel. And then PDF, it's slower slightly, but this probably is noise. That's definitely noise. There, I would say that's even. I'd say this is even. I would say the text processing is close to being even. They're definitely even in asset. This is 8% difference on object detection. That's noise. They're the same. This is pretty strategic. This is 13% difference on horizon detection. It's faster in object removers. The UN1250 is faster than the NUC. HDR, dead even. Is that 5? It's 9%. So yeah, photo filters, I would say the UN1250 definitely wins. And then ray trace, 1%. I don't think I would call that a win. I would call that a draw. That's noise. And then this definitely is significant. That's structure from motion. That's about a 3.1, 3.7. Yeah, 3.7% difference there. Not significant, but still, yeah. And then in the multi-core, the NUC just pretty much dominates. It just, multi-core, it just kind of walks the floor with it. So, yeah, except for the photo filter, that one's dead even. There was another one, that's dead even. The black, I'd say noise. They're agreeing. I mean, they're not giving it a win. I'd say that's noise too. But this, I would probably give that to Intel. That's a 7.1% difference. That's significant statistically. Speed test for the drive, AMD is faster. Harmonic mean, yeah, AMD is faster significantly. But, there's a pretty good difference in price here too. Yeah, the bare bones is 457 to, like I said, up to 530, I think. And that's just for a bare bones UM890 Pro. You could get the UM870, which is the 7 series version, a lot cheaper. I think that's kind of more of a comparison between the price of the 1250. I think it's down. Bago Ops, this is CPU performance, and then we have all tests. So, does it do bad? Yeah, it's about half the speed. But, it still took first place on some of the tests. But the NUC wins because of its support for Thunderbolt and because it also has... there's some differences in the way they do cache memory. The UN1250 has more, I think it's level 1 cache, and the Intel has more level 2 cache. So yeah, they're just slight differences that will affect performance, as you'll see here in a minute. So on the read and write speeds for the Kingston versus the Samsung, this is on using IOZone, I got 4,263 megabytes per second read on the UN1250 and 5,271 megabytes per second with the Samsung. On write performance, I got 4,310 on the UN1250 and 5,820 megabytes per second on the 990 Pro. Some of the key findings, the UN1250's Kingston drive is solid, but it maxes out during the performance test, which, I think it maxed out at about, if you know the IOZone worker loads that I do, I have worker 1 through worker 5, which simulate simultaneous IOs going to the drive. So it caps out somewhere around 4 workers. So yeah, I mean, you can't do anything with it after that. It's just going to stay pinned. But you are seeing max performance out of the drive. So, and the NUC Samsung does not max out. It performs better, but it costs more. It costs another. I think there's those 2 terabyte are around $167. The UN1250, I touched on this. The DisplayPort does not work. I confirmed this on Windows and Linux. Normally, there's a BIOS option, like on the NUC, to enable the second port, but there is not. There's no way to enable it. So what about some of the use cases? We're going to talk about server, Linux use as a Linux workstation, and use as a Windows workstation. So the Windows 11 workstation, the UN1250, as I said, comes pre-installed with Windows 11 Pro. And the NUC uses Home, as I recall. That's, this machine, the UN1250, is good for general productivity and light creative workloads. And because it has Pro, it also supports WSL, has BitLocker remote display, and it also has the virtual manager. So the biggest limitation is no Thunderbolt support, which the NUC has. As a Linux workstation, either of the machines have full driver support in Linux distros, and I've tested it with Linux Mint, with Ubuntu, with Fedora, with Debian. It works just fine. The BIOS that's included with the Minisforum is slimmed down. It doesn't have a full BIOS, at least not one that I can see. It has this front cover over it, but I wish they'd get rid of that and just give us a BIOS. As far as server use, though, I think it'll make a great home lab server, and it does have virtualization built into it. At least there are options to enable it. Mine came pre-enabled with virtualization and VTD turned on. And the bonus of 2.5 gigabit Ethernet is great. That makes it viable for small business and home server setups. What about ECC RAM? Well, no, you can't put ECC RAM in this. It does not have the support for it. Who should buy these? These are my recommendations. The Minisforum UN1250 in my test is best for a Windows and Linux workstation if you are a casual user. You're not gaming or using AI or high-end graphics or expecting high-end graphics support. It doesn't have Thunderbolt, and it doesn't have Oculink. Home server setup, definitely. It definitely can serve in that kind of a capacity. And if you wanted, it's a pretty good, it's almost half the price of the Intel NUC. They still sell it. As you know, Intel sold their business off to Asus. I think that was back in the summer of 2023. It's been a while where Intel shed their NUC business, and Asus has now picked up support for all of these. So any BIOS changes or any firmware changes or driver updates will be having to come from them. That's all I had for today. Hope you enjoyed the review, and bye for now.